From Matthew Gray Gubler leaving the show after its first season, to fans dragging it for its forced drama and terrible comedy, here's why Criminal Minds Evolution needs to be canceled. Evolution introduced some changes heading into its second season, and there's one change that's got fans feeling a little blue. The fan favorite Matthew Gubler, who plays the brilliant Spencer Reed, is nowhere to be found in the second season. Cue the collective heartbreak. His leaving the show has left a huge hole in the cast, and it looks like there's no hope for his return either. Showrunner Erica Messer revealed that Gubler had conflicting schedules. I guess it just wasn't in the stars for him, huh? And it's not because Matt didn't want to reprise his role. Messer made it clear that they were eager to have him back, but he had limited time to shoot, and unfortunately other commitments got in the way. Fans are still hoping for a glimpse of either Gubler in at least one episode, but it seems like it just isn't meant to be. And to be honest, his return won't do the show any favors either. I don't know if you remember, but this guy was canceled because of some weird stuff he said on social media. Yup. Matthew has been accused of offending the LGBTQ community. One prime example is the time he described his perfect woman. The guy went on to say, "I am dubious of actresses, felons, and lesbians, but don't want to rule them out entirely." I mean, seriously, did he just place felons in the same camp as lesbians? If that doesn't explain how he feels about the queer community, maybe his tweet from 2009 does. In it, he asks his friends if his magenta beret looks too gay. Uh-oh, not the best choice of words there, Matt. On top of that, there are some images of the actor wearing an Indian headdress during a photo shoot. It's safe to say that didn't sit well with fans. Cultural appropriation is a touchy subject, and seeing him with that headdress really did rile up a few folks. They called him out for not respecting and understanding the importance of cultural symbols. But even with the 68 kill actor gone, the show just doesn't have what it takes, especially because it's following up the masterpiece that was Criminal Minds. Now, don't get me wrong, Evolution does bring us some interesting twists, but sometimes they go a bit overboard with their subplots. You see, there are moments that keep you on the edge of your seat and then lead up to absolutely nothing. I mean, just take a look at when Deputy Director Bailey comes in all tough and threatens Rossi, even demoting him as unit chief. You'd think that would lead to some super cool action, but nope, he brushes it off like it's no big deal, saying he never wanted the job in the first place. Talk about a dead end. It's a bit frustrating when you invest your emotions and anticipation into these scenes, only to realize they don't really add anything meaningful to the plot. It's like a false alarm, leaving fans scratching their heads and wondering, what was the point of all that? And the confusion doesn't end there. Throughout the show, only JJ and Penelope seem to be hogging the spotlight, getting all these juicy scenes about their personal lives. But you've got to wonder, what about our main guy, David Rossi? It's like he's married to his job and has no life outside of it. At the start, they hit us with a bombshell when Rossi's wife kicks the bucket, leaving him heartbroken and totally obsessed with work. But here's the thing, the show has totally forgotten about Rossi's daughter, stepdaughter, and grandson. I mean, come on! They only give them a passing mention. Yeah, Crystal's death is a total tragedy, no doubt about it. But let's not forget that Rossi had other family members too, you know? It's like they're sweeping his family under the rug, focusing only on the guy's sadness and leaving the rest in the shadows. Can't they throw us a bone and show us a bit more about his other loved ones? I'm just saying that the guy's family deserves a little more attention, and so does the show's writing quality. There's a reason people eat up crime shows. It's because of the mystery and suspense, but this show has none of that. It does have a pretty interesting concept at its core. But since the pandemic puts a damper on criminals' killing sprees, the main bad guy comes up with this twisted idea of creating a whole network of serial killers. Talk about messed up, right? But here's the problem. Evolution spilled the beans on this guy Voight, and spilled him way too early. They basically gave us his whole life story and showed us who he really is right from the get-go. And let me tell you, when you know everything there is to know about the guy, it's hard for any of his moves to surprise you. The element of shock is just gone. I mean, sure, it's like the show hands us all the puzzle pieces at once instead of letting us put them together bit by bit. So yeah, Evolution kind of dropped the ball by revealing too much about the killer too soon. It's a bummer because it could have been a real nail-biter if they had kept us guessing. And this show is full of disappointments like these. One thing that's really bugging me is that most of the side villains are hella underdeveloped. Here's the thing. Evolution seems to have bitten off more than it can chew. It's like they went all in on Sicarius and his army of serial killers. And because of that, they've got so many bad guys running around that they're spread thin like butter on toast. Sure, Sicarius and a handful of unsubs get some backstory and a motive for their twisted deeds, but the problem is that the overarching conflict of the season totally steals the spotlight, leaving very little room for them to be fleshed out like they should be. The characters aren't done justice at all. It seems like the show has shifted its focus so much that the side villains are left hanging in the wind. They're like cardboard cutouts compared to the well-rounded baddies fans are used to seeing. Of course, the season's main conflict is important, but we can't help but miss those fully developed, diverse villains that used to make us hold our breath. It's a shame, really. Criminal Minds used to excel at building up its bad guys, but Evolution seems to have dropped the ball on that front. And with every comparison to the original show, this one fails time and time again. You see, what made Criminal Minds so awesome was how those behavioral analysis unit peeps were super dedicated to their job. In the earlier seasons, they tackled some seriously emotional cases. But in Evolution, there's been a bit of a dip in the number of cases they're working on. And you know what that means? There is less chance for our favorite team to get personally invested. Sure, we've got Rossi falling into the clutches of that baddie Voight, which is pretty intense. But his emotional investment seems more tied to his obsession with the job than a deep personal connection to the victims. So, yeah, while the show still has some gripping, it's nowhere close to pulling at our heartstrings. Don't take my word for it. Just take a look at what fans have to say about Evolution. Spoiler alert, it's not good. So a bunch of fans out there are giving this show a big thumbs down. They're all like, hey, they're trying to modernize a once great show, but it's a total flop. They think it's just a sad attempt to cash in on their nostalgia and make it a better version of the old one. But in reality, it's just plain awful. According to one passionate fan, it's not just bad, it's a downright show. Some viewers expressed how they hate the forced drama and terrible comedy, saying it simply lacks the magic of the original. Another fan tried to sugarcoat it a bit, but let's be real, they spilled the tea. They admitted that the creators are trying to make an effort, but honestly, that's just not enough for a show like this one. One fan even said that the show is just not the same without Reed. Another finished the first episode and went straight to social media saying, "The writing is horrible. At times, the dialogue between each character feels so unnatural and forced. Yikes!" And there are even more voices chiming in. They agree that the dialogue totally stinks, but they're also calling out the strange plot holes. I mean, come on, if someone buried a shipping container in a small town, the whole community would know about it before the dirt even covered it up. It's just not realistic. Some fans are still holding out for it to get better with time. But let's be real here. The only thing you should be hoping, for now, is its cancellation, as soon as possible. So there you have it. From disappointed fans throwing shade at the show's awful dialogue to Spencer Reed's actor ditching the set because of scheduling conflicts. That's why Criminal Minds Evolution needs to be canceled.